Brianna Turner has signed with the Indiana Fever per the WNBA transition page. Some depth for the Fever front court. She played for, again, I believe she played for Chicago.
Angel Reese is clearly not taking this well. The moment Brianna Turner rejected the Chicago Sky and instead chose to join Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, Reese's feelings were on full display. Trying to sound playful, she commented, "Oh, so this is what we're doing now." But her side-eye and forced laugh gave away the real emotions behind it. You could hear the salt in her voice. Guess loyalty has an expiration date, like old milk. Classic Angel, turning every moment into a spectacle. But beneath the jokes, it was clear this one stung. WNBA Twitter? They devoured it like free popcorn at a game.
You don't get told no. Like, you're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know that's going to come.
This wasn't just any free agent decision. This was Brianna Turner, an all-WNBA first-team defender and a seasoned veteran, someone who could have stabilized the shaky Sky. Instead, she ran straight to Indiana, sending a message. Turner even took a pay cut to join the Fever rather than accept a bigger deal from Chicago. That's a statement. For Reese, who's still trying to establish herself as the face of the league, watching a player of Turner's caliber walk away to join her so-called rival had to hurt. And let's be honest, there is no rivalry, except in Reese's mind.
NBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far from that. And so this year, the focus really has to be on getting players in who are going to bridge that gap between this season.
Reese tried to play it cool on social media, but the cracks were obvious. She tweeted, "Wow. Just wow." Short, simple, but everyone knew exactly what it meant. Translation? She was fuming. And really, who could blame her? First, Aya Wilson was already stressed about Indiana assembling what looked like an Avengers-level squad, and now Reese had to deal with it, too. It felt like every top-tier free agent looked at Chicago, then at Indiana, and said, "Yeah, I'm good. I'll go hoop with Caitlin."
These are the pieces that Stephanie White and Amber Cox is going after. They're going after ready elite talent, kind of, they know their responsibility. They know what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have to do a whole lot of coaching like that, teaching plug-and-play pieces, and women that are going to come in and make immediate impact. That's what you want to see from this basketball team. That's what you see from elite teams across the league.
Meanwhile, over in Indiana, it was pure celebration. Brianna Turner was welcomed with open arms. Aaliyah Boston, as cool as ever, tweeted, "Let's hoop." Simple, yet filled with quiet confidence. Indiana knew exactly what they were building. And Sophie Cunningham? You just know she was grinning ear to ear, already imagining the first time she'd get to clap back at Angel Reese after a hard foul. The Fever aren't just adding talent. They're building chemistry before they've even hit the court.
Oh, lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offensive.
But this is bigger than one player picking a team. This is a shift in the league. The WNBA isn't just growing. It's becoming a spectacle. Indiana is no longer a rebuilding project. It's the destination. And for Angel Reese, it's turning into a nightmare. While she's busy convincing the world that Chicago is next, her teammates and potential teammates are quietly saying, "Nah, we're good."
It is funny that all these people who hated the Indiana Fever last year is finally coming around to sign with the team. Go figure. Now, I don't know the whole initial thing about this signing, maybe for depth, defensive purposes. But it is funny to see how what a year make when the Indiana Fever is one of the but is the top team.
The offseason isn't even over, and it already feels like the Fever won free agency. Angel Reese might need to start playing recruiter soon, but there's one major problem. Most of the stars are already taken. Social media was ruthless. Y'all can keep Angel Reese and her missed layups. We got Caitlin Clark. The disrespect wasn't subtle, it was loud. And honestly, it was earned. Because what was Chicago's response? Their free agency tracker looked more like a missing persons report. Marina Mabry left midseason. Kennedy Carter wasn't re-signed. Diamond DeShields picked Connecticut over Chicago. Now it's just Reese and Camila Cardoso left. Sky fans were scrolling Twitter, wondering, did we get anyone?
Indiana Fever are officially title contenders. Every day they have something new for us in free agency. And today it's Miss DeWanna Bonner. 6-time WNBA All-Star and WNBA champ, a veteran in this game, can pretty much do it all. Also an enforcer, nasty defense. Should I continue? We have a new starting five. Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, DeWanna at the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, and Aaliyah Boston at
The pain was real. Every time Fever fans posted their projected lineup, Sky fans had to close the app just to protect their mental health. Because what could they even say? Trust the process? That might work for NBA Twitter, but this is the WNBA. Either you build right, or you get left behind. And right now, Chicago is looking like it's about to get lapped.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
Of course, Angel Reese wasn't going to let her pride take that hit quietly. She immediately switched into underdog mode, delivering the same speech we've heard before. I thrive when people doubt me. And sure, maybe she does. Maybe she'll come back next season ready to bulldoze defenders. But let's be real, thriving off doubt works for a solo player. Basketball is a team sport, and right now, her team looks one bad injury away from complete disaster.
What Steph White is doing and what the Fever organization is doing is nothing less than phenomenal, in my opinion. They are taking this young, talented core that they have, with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, and they're adding veteran players that Stephanie White has already worked with. Let's talk about that too, and has chemistry with and knows the work ethic of. And they are building this super team, make no mistake about it, that is going to give you instant results.
While Reese is busy proving doubters wrong, Indiana is making power moves. Fever GM Amber Cox and head coach Stephanie White aren't just betting on Caitlin Clark. They see a championship window, and they're charging straight through it. No more, we're rebuilding. No more, give it time. This team is built to win now, and every move they've made this offseason proves it.
Breaking news came down, so we have to discuss it. This is what we do here. We're talking about the Indiana Fever making yet another move, Alicia, because they're Thanos right now, and they're collecting all the Infinity Stones.
Natasha Howard isn't just a veteran. She's a champion, a defensive beast who can still drop 20 on any given night. DeWanna Bonner is a walking bucket, a leader who thrives under pressure. Brianna Turner, an elite rim protector, making sure no one gets easy buckets. Sophie Cunningham, she brings shooting, toughness, and that extra edge, exactly the kind of player you want in playoff battles. And Sydney Colson, more than just good vibes. She's a steady veteran who can run an offense when the game gets chaotic. And the best part? They did all this without giving up their Fab Four: Clark, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall. This isn't just a roster, it's an army.
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lex.
Everyone's so focused on Caitlin Clark that they forget Aaliyah Boston is already an all-star and one of the most dominant young bigs in the league. Pair her with Brianna Turner and Natasha Howard, and that's a defensive wall. Good luck trying to score in that paint. Throw in Bonner and Cunningham, and suddenly Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull have wide-open shots all game long. Stephanie White isn't just collecting talent. She's building a team that fits together. Everyone compliments Caitlin Clark's game, spacing the floor, defending, and moving without the ball. This is everything Clark needs to thrive.
I'm trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself in the back, telling myself that I'm still doing great.
If teams thought trapping Caitlin Clark at half court was tough last season, they're in for a rude awakening. Now, she has weapons all around her. Mitchell and Bonner cutting backdoor. Hull and Cunningham stretching the floor. Boston, Turner, and Howard locking down the paint. Every hole in last season's Fever team has been patched with elite talent. Indiana isn't just trying to compete, they're coming for a championship. And the rest of the WNBA? They better be ready. If teams thought trapping Caitlin Clark at half court was tough last season, they're in for a rude awakening. Now, she has weapons all around her. Mitchell and Bonner cutting backdoor. Hull and Cunningham stretching the floor. Boston, Turner, and Howard locking down the paint. Every hole in last season's Fever team has been patched with elite talent. Indiana isn't just trying to compete, they're coming for a championship. And the rest of the WNBA? They better be ready. The rest of the league thought they had time, believed they had a season or two before Indiana truly found its stride. Wrong. The Fever just slammed the fast-forward button on their rebuild. They're not waiting. They're coming now, and for teams like Chicago, that's a nightmare. If this squad gels the way they should, they're not just aiming for a playoff spot. They're making a deep run. The WNBA better brace itself because Indiana isn't here to play games. They're here to take over.